Welcome back to Y&R For Life, where we talk about all things Y&R related. We talk about what's going on, what I think's going to happen, my predictions. Hey, we even talk about fashion on the show from time to time because I'm a big time fashion girl, so we got to spill the tea about that. If you're new to this channel, my question is, what took you so long to get here? And if you are returning, what's up? Long time no see. I really can't quite put my finger on this whole week. I really can't. I dare say there was not even really any funny moments. Well, maybe like right at the end of the week. But really, it was just, I don't know, it kind of lackluster. You'll see what I'm talking about. Anyway, we're going to get through a couple of disclaimers first before we get into it. So, if you don't want to know what's going on, you want to get caught up on your own, this might not be what you want to see or hear, but I am so grateful that you are here. And if I happen to not mention something, it could be because I plumb forgot, which is more than a possibility this week because, yeah. Or it just really wasn't newsworthy, so I didn't bother mentioning it. It's the nature of the beast. It is what it is. That's what I like to call it. However, if you do like this type of content, you like what you see, you like what you hear, it would be so kind if you hit that like and subscribe button, and don't forget to hit that bell notification, ding, because that way you don't miss a single video that I post here on Y&R For Life. I mean, why would you want to miss an episode? Anyway, and lastly, don't forget to share, because why? Sharing is caring, and let's throw it out there into the YouTube algorithm so, more people can see what you're seeing. All right, let's get into it. The beginning of the week, and again, in no particular order, we're just going to talk about the characters. I prefer that way. That way I can kind of figure out, who did what. It's almost like a game of Clue. All right, so the beginning of the week, we saw Victoria and Cole. They were at, where were they? Were they at Society? Or were they at Crimson Lights? I feel like they were Society. Kind of doesn't matter. But anyway, they were together. And Victoria was very upset over the fact that Claire had left the Newman Ranch and kind of sauntered off on her own and didn't tell anybody. I think a guard knew where she was, but she didn't tell her mother, Nikki, like nobody. So Claire had went fancy free. Well, Cole is like the voice of reason, and he says, Victoria, I know you're upset. It is what it is. You got to understand something. Claire's an adult. We can't keep her tight, and we got to let her basically spread her wings and just give her a little bit of slack, that kind of thing. She's like, yeah, but I'm just so nervous, and I know you're right, and whatnot. So Victoria, I dare say this whole week she was in a bit of a funk, but she had her moments of nostalgia. Anyway, so I know they had to have been at Society. Why? Because while they were there at the table, they hear Mariah and Tessa, wee! Well, Victoria's like, oh, I wonder what that's all about. So eventually it was like, oh, hi, guys. This is Victoria and Cole. Oh, hi, guys. Like, what's going on? So Mariah's like, yeah, we just closed on our new home. That was so fast. They basically are moving into their new home in 3 days. Whoa. I got to see this new home. Anyway, So Victoria is like, well, congratulations. So Tessa's like, of course, yeah, it's kind of odd, but, Aria, this was her first home, and it it's kind of bittersweet, but we do thank Victor for allowing us to be there, but like we have to move on. So I guess Victoria was like, yeah, we used to live there. Well, half a step back, Mariah was like, oh my goodness, here we are going on and on about how we got this new property and you literally just lost your home. How insensitive of us. And she's like, no, 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 that's fine. Okay, I don't blame Mariah. It was what it was. And like Victoria, she has enough moolah. I know nobody wants to lose their home, whether it to be fire or water damage, anything like that. Hey, side note, I used to work in insurance, so I know how, like one of my good friends, she basically burnt down her house. So yeah, it's life changing, but she's got the Newman money. It's soap opera land, people. So Cole was like, yeah, that's pretty much where our story began, was the tack house. So Tess like, oh really? I didn't know. So then he's like, yeah, I wonder if that tap is still, sticking or whatever. And Victoria's like, I think it's gone through a few renovations. Yes, it probably went through, let me just think, probably about 2 or 3, based on when her and Cole, previous Victoria, her and Cole lived there, Phyllis and Nick lived there, and then, didn't Sharon live there at some point in time? I think she did. And then Mariah and Tessa. So, yes, the faucet doesn't stick anymore, or whatever, shower, whatever. It doesn't stick. Sorry, Cole. Whatever. So then Mariah and Tessa basically invited them to come over because they had a bottle of champagne that they wanted to celebrate. And they just basically invited them over to come on out and celebrate. So they're like, well, I wonder if we can bring our daughter, So they basically got a hold of Claire and said, how would you like to go down memory lane? And the 3 of them saunter off to the tack house, and it was like, wee! So many memories and what have you. So then assertive Victoria basically says to Claire, I have a good idea. How about, you move in here? So then Claire thought that Victoria wanted to kind of like, almost like punish her and move her off and ship her off of the property, even though she's on the property, but like out of the Newman, the main house to the tack house. I guess almost like you're living in the main quarters to the garage kind of thing. I don't know. So Victoria's like, no, 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 no. I'm moving in with you and Johnny and Katie, whom we have not seen in eons. So they had their little feel-good moment, whatever. Fast forward, Victoria and Cole had basically went outside, insert green screen, which they had a whole whackload of green screens this week. I was like, it's green screen overload. So Cole and Victoria are sitting on a, was it a park bench? On the ranch? Like, what? Okay, so they're sitting on a park bench, and Victoria's like, yeah, it's getting warmer outside, while she takes her coat and, yeah, it's getting warmer outside. What did you have to do that with your coat for? But whatever. Yeah, so fast forward, they're having their little conversation under the, the starlit sky, and Cole basically says to Victoria that, he's always admired her and that she still takes his breath away. And then he leans in for the kiss. But end scene, cut to commercial, you don't actually see them kiss. I don't know what was going on there, but it is assumed that that's what occurred. So basically, cut back from commercial. That's pretty much, Victoria's with Claire and they're having their little conversation. And, side note, like I've said before, I feel like they're just giving Claire the keys to the kingdom a little too quickly. Why? Victoria, at some point in time, which they start to move in with a quickness, and Victoria gives Claire a key to the tack house. Oh, welcome home. Claire brings some books. She gets first dibs on a room because she's the eldest and she's the first one there. Once again, we haven't seen Johnny and Katie. However, I find it a little suspicious. And Claire is still trying to, I know she has not been around and she wants some information, but I feel like it's more like intel. Like she's just gathering her little notes. I just something about her just seems a little awry, but we shall see. Okay, so there was that was basically Victoria, Cole, Claire. Not much more to say about them. They kind of popped in and popped out a little throughout the week where Nikki was concerned, but really not important. Okay, let's see. All right, so Devon, Lily, Billy, what's his name? Do Gooder Chance. That was a whole wallop of a mess. Okay, so basically Billy is was telling Lily that he doesn't think that basically Devon kind of needs to be there. Like he can be there at Chancellor Winters. However, he and Lily, meaning Billy and Lily, should be the ones running the company. And that there's a reason why Jill put her as CEO and brought Billy in. That she was grooming him to take over, I guess, when I don't know. So Lily's like, oh, she said that? He's like, well, no, but it's kind of implied. Really, Billy? Has your voice gotten a little too deep? I'm confused. All right. So Lily's like, oh, okay, I'll bite. Like, how do you see this working? Because Devon's not gonna like this. Whatever. And he's like, well, Devon's kind of boring. He's not innovative. He just plays safe. Where you take chances because you're the one that proposed that Chancellor and Hamilton Winters kind of come together, and like that was all you, and like your ideas are fresh, and you and I can take this to like the next level. And Lily's like, I don't know. At some point, half a step back, Lily and Devon were having conversation. This is after they bumped into Tucker, and that's a whole other story. One that really doesn't need to be even discussed, but whatever. If you need to know, Tucker is just like trying to still get in his good graces, and Devon ain't having it. Okay, forget that. So Lily and Devon were at the club having, conversation. And Devon was going on and on about Billy and, Tucker, and Lily's sitting back. I mean, she might as well have had a cigar and a smoking jacket on, because she was just like, what? And Devon's going on about Billy, and Lily's like, look, you keep going on about Billy, but like you don't think that you have like a hand in this. He's like, well, no, I don't. She's like, well, I kind of disagree, because you've been like harping on Billy, but like you're not willing to budge, kind of thing. He's like, well, look, I'm just trying to say how I feel to my sister, and like just I'm just discussing how I feel to my sister. She's like, yeah. I think at one point she just got up and was like, I'm out. Like, enough of this. Hence her conversation with Billy. Devon, you are thoroughly boring. You really are. If anything, you do have a few quips and, that are laughable. A few little one-liners that are, at times pretty spectacular. But why don't you just go off into the sunset, marry Abby, raise Dominic, maybe have another child, and just, yeah, you're not really serving much of a purpose at this point. And I think Lily is correct on this, but we shall see. All right, so there was that whole Lily, Billy, Devon. Segue to Tucker and Audra with which Ashley? I don't know. As we learn at the end of the week, there's like, I believe, 3 Ashleys. Don't know their names. One is Ashley though, but the other 2, don't know their names. I do know one is like a little kid, but the other one, I don't know. So I'm just going to breeze right on through this with Tucker and Audra, because, oh my goodness, it's so cringeworthy to watch the 2 of them together. Ugh. Okay, so basically, Tucker, he's still professing his undying love, which that is so quick. And Audra, it's so quick how she can say that she loves Tucker. I don't know. So Tucker ends up surprising Audra with, I guess, a whole setup for Paris at the Jazz Lounge, saying that since they couldn't go to Paris, that he basically brought a taste of Paris to her. It really didn't look like Paris to me. Maybe some of the food, but it just didn't scream Paris to me. I don't know. Well, he ends up once again professing his love, and he proposes to Audra with, by the way, was a beautiful ring. Was that a purple stone? My favorite color, purple. It looked purple. Maybe it could have been because of the royal blue in the background with the Jazz Lounge, or it's like royal navy. It's a cross between. But that was a nice ring. Audra. Well, she's basically didn't say yes. And she was like, you sure this is not trying to, like, you're not doing this to try and, prove something to your son or get back at Ashley? And he's like, no, oh my gosh, this Ashley talk again. No, 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 to the point where he's like, no, tell me how you really feel there, Tucker. And she she didn't say yes. Audra, smart move. And I don't really feel that you make that many smart moves to begin with. But smart move. So then they end up back in the room doing their business. Oh my gosh, cringe worthy. And Tucker ends up leaving, which is the part where he ends up bumping into Lily and Devon. Okay? Nothing more to be said about that, with the exception of at some point in time, Audra bumps into whichever Ashley is at the bar at the club, because Audra ends up getting dressed and she moseys on out, leaves Tucker, and I think he was in the shower, because he invited her in the shower and she wasn't having it, but she moseyed on out. Well, Audra's looking at Ashley at some point in time like she is full on crazy. Which I dare say she was acting like the little girl. And she's like, I need to talk to Tucker. She's like, oh my goodness, like enough is enough. Like what else do you need to know? Like he's not interested. Like he's done with you. Like enough is enough. And she's like, I'm not who you think I am. And Ashley's plan, she's going to hurt him like real bad. I'm just like, Ashley? The way Audra looked at her, like she was like, and at some point in time, the voices in Ashley's head went off and was like, you better stop it now. And, because I'll, whatever the voice said to her. And like Barbara Trick, she changed to this very secure person, whichever Ashley that was. Tucker comes down and Audra's like, yeah, I think you were right. Something's wrong with her. Ashley's like, look, I just drank and forgot to eat something, because she had some sort of martini, and she was like, ew, who would ever drink this? Like, I'm telling you, this was all over the map. And Tucker's like, well, what's going on here? She's like, look, I don't know, Tucker, but like something's going on. And she's like, look, I just ate something. I didn't eat something. I forgot to eat and I drank. Like, it's not a big deal. Like, whatever. Look, that whole story is beyond me. I shake my head all the time. It's a pseudo decent storyline, but I shake my head. All right. So whichever Ashley is going to show up, because at the end of the week, we see Ashley 1, 2, and 3 in separate beds. This is in her mind, because she went up to her room she went up to a hotel room, whatever, at the club, and sat there in the dark, and somehow in her subconscious, you end up seeing these Ashleys, and the one was like, wake up, get up. It's a mess. It's a mess. And if you can follow it, but it is a hot mess. All right. Let's dial it back. And just kind of breeze over. We had pretty much almost a full episode of Connor being taken to this facility out in the east. And it was pretty much an episode where, like, there was a green screen where he was, but we didn't see him actually getting dropped off there by Adam and Chelsea. Adam and Chelsea were, in theory, on their way back in some limousine to their respective places. Chelsea drops off to see Billy. Adam drops off to see Sally. And, it's a back and forth between the two conversations. And basically the school is like, or the facility, if you will, is like, yeah, you guys, in theory, are the cause of why Connor is the way he is at this point in time. They are losing their mind. Chelsea's crying. Adam is telling Sally he shouldn't be a father. And yeah, it was a whole, pretty much, as I said, a whole episode of them reeling over the fact that in their minds, they have let their son down with the way each of them has, carried themselves. With Chelsea, with, her depression, Adam with his crazy ways. And, I kind of feel bad for Connor. Connor, hopefully you'll get through this, You'll get through this. I'm rooting for you. All right. At some point in time, we saw Daniel and Heather. Again, I'm glossing over the two of them because they bore me. I just wish they would just leave the show. And if it does happen, like I think it will, bravo, let them go. They are still, trying to figure out what they're going to do. And Heather is trying to see if maybe she could talk to Michael to see if there's some legal loophole in order to be able to, at the very least, have Daniel keep the Princess Louisa part of the video game. And Daniel's like, I don't think it's going to happen. But okay, like, whatever. I just don't really want to talk about them, but yeah. Anyway, Phyllis, she is at the jazz lounge, and Billy, because Billy doesn't really work, he just kind of pops in all over the place. He'll go into the office for a hot second, shake his pockets, and fold over his jacket and say a few words, and he's off again. So they're at the club, and Billy wants to talk to Phyllis, for them to kind of commiserate. Phyllis is like, no, not now, maybe another time. No. And he's like, oh, well, it looks like you're headed for one of those hangovers, so maybe I can get you one of those concoctions and leave it in your room so that, when it happens, you have something to help you. I don't know. They end up speaking, and Billy basically tells Phyllis about the fact that Heather and Daniel got fired and that they got back together. And of course, Phyllis is like, well, I should take some credit for this. And what do you mean they got fired? Like, what? And then he's like, yeah, Lily, they did this while Lily was away, and Lily fired them now that she's back. Yep. She's like, what? What? So she messages Daniel, and Daniel's like, oh man, I don't want to deal with my mom. Heather's like, she likes me. She was rooting for us. Let's go. So off they went. Have a little conversation at the jazz lounge, and it was, Lily can't do this, but you are Princess Louisa. That's yours, and oh my goodness, and who cares? Does anybody? I don't care. Who cares? Phyllis, you're on the way out. You don't really have a job at this point, since he's got canned. Who's going to take that over? That's what I'd like to figure out. Interesting. Okay, scene fillers was basically Chance and Summer hitting the sack, having just prior to hitting the sack, Summer gave Chance a massage because he was talking about how Daniel got fired, and he's like, oh my gosh, I've talked shop enough and I'm ruining our date. And she's like, no, it's okay. I've got a better idea. That's when up to the room, massage, and hit the sack. Okay. I actually, am I going to say this? I actually don't mind the two of them together. I didn't think I would, but I want to say they have a little bit more chemistry than he and Sharon did. Sharon was just, no. Get her another love interest, except Nick. Speaking of Nick, which I think this might be the last thing I'm going to talk about. Oh, no, 2 more things. All right. Nick, and this is where my prediction, I believe wholeheartedly, will come to pass. I made this prediction weeks ago that Lily and Nick will get together. Even my brother was like, oh my gosh, they're going to put the two of them together? I'm like, I predicted this. He's like, well, there was no lead up. Like, how did you predict this? I'm like, I know. Something was just burning in me that the two of them would get together. And what ends up happening? They have a lunch date, so to speak, on the fly. And there was watch and see. That's all I'm going to say about that. Okay. Who should we? I think we're going to end with Nikki. Insert very ever so briefly the fact that Diane, you can tell she's a little jealous of Jack and Nikki's relationship, but that's beside the point. I forgot to mention that at some point in time, Ashley had gone wherever and came back home, hair all tousled, didn't know where she was. She told Tracy. Tracy's losing her mind. Like, oh my goodness, she was trying to find her. She pops in. She doesn't know where she was. She doesn't remember anything, and basically says that it's been happening a lot. This is what she's telling Tracy. By the end of whatever conversation she has with Tracy, she's like, pinky swear you won't tell Jack about this. Pinky swear? We still doing that? Pinky swear. Tracy's like, oh, okay. And then Barbara Trick, she changes, and she's like, yeah, I'm going to go upstairs and, I'm just going to take a bath. Oh, okay. So that was that. So lastly, and I know this has been all over the board because that's exactly how the week was. To me, it was just all over the board. Okay, so Nikki, Nikki is with Jack a few times, and they were at society. In walks Jordan in her disguise as a man, goes up to the bar, sits there. She's eavesdropping, can hear whatever conversations that are going on. And at some point in time, Jordan ends up whispering to the bartender to bring over a drink to Nikki. And it's some like triple vodka, whatever, whatever. And Nikki's like, who sent this? So the guy, he gets a speaking role, and he's like, the man at the bar. Nikki's like, there's no man at the bar. Oh, well, he was there, and he said to give it to you. So she's like, what's in this? He tells her, take it away, take it away, take it away right now, right now, right now. So Nikki is now convinced that Jordan is not working alone. She's got somebody, working along with her. Well, once again, she's working alone. But of course, Nikki doesn't know this information. Yeah. Nikki's back on the bottle again. So she had a few days of reprieve, and now she's back on the bottle and popping breath mints. Why doesn't okay, I'm not a drinker. And if I was, because if I could smell vodka, like that stuff is strong. It's at least, what, 40, 60% proof? Like, how do you not have a swig of that? And she has more than a swig. And it's not like coming out of your pores. This is alcohol we're talking about here. And you think a breath mint? Okay, something is wrong with everybody in the Newman household. They're sniffers, because I just don't get it. So Nikki and Victor were supposed to go away for some celebratory 40-year anniversary of them getting together, and they were going to go away and then come back and have like some big party. Well, after this whole drinky drink ordeal from at society, Nikki's like, I won't go. And she basically tells Victor, I won't go because Jack said if I go, that I'm giving the power to Jordan. He's like, well, I don't give a damn what Jack has to say. Whatever. We're going. She was like, nope. So then he's like, well, how do you want to handle this? She's like, I have a plan. He's like, oh. So what's this plan all about? So she's like, yeah, we're going to have like a big party here. We're not going anywhere. And hopefully this will basically bring Jordan out of the woodworks. And so she's hoping that Jordan will show up. Jordan will probably show up. As Jordan or as a man? Will she try and blow up the joint? I don't know. I've set the place ablaze. I couldn't tell you. We already know she's an arsonist. And she likes guns and knives. So who knows? Again, we shall see where this all goes. And once again, I'm sorry if this was all over the map, but that's exactly how the week was to me. It was all over the board. It was like a complete extreme roller coaster. So if you stuck around to the end of this video, I'm so grateful. You know I appreciate you. You know I love you lots. And we're going to see what happens this week coming. And hopefully it's a little bit more cohesive. Because this week, especially with Ashley, and whichever one she wanted to be, and all the green screens that were going on. Yeah, it was a little hard to follow. Just saying, just my opinion. All right, guys. So you take care, and don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button and hit the bell notification so that you don't miss a single video that I post here on Y&R For Life. And share, share, share. Why? Because sharing is caring. At least I like to think so. And let's just blow up the YouTube algorithm and have others share in my craziness. All right, guys, you take care. See you on the next video. Bye.